Alright, what's going on everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to upgrade a Magic Arena starter deck that you get for free on Magic Arena. We'll be upgrading the deck in 2 stages. First I'll show you how to upgrade the deck with no rares, and then I'll show you some of the rares and mythics you can add to the deck if you already have them or if you want to spend a few rare wildcards on this deck. I caution you, however, to spend your wildcards wisely on Arena because they are hard to get. So today we're upgrading the Life Skills deck, which is a black and white life gain deck with lots of payoffs for gaining life. You get things like Griffin Aerie, Indulging Patrician, and Vito, all of which trigger when you gain life. The Aerie will put out Griffin tokens, the Patrician will make the opponent lose 3 life, and Vito will drain equal to the amount of life you gain. Like if you gain 4 life, he drains 4. In addition to those, we also get a bunch of enablers that help us gain life, like Revitalize, Faith's Fetters, and Tavern Swindler. And this is the weakest part of the deck in my opinion. We have some sweet payoffs for gaining life, but we don't really have a lot of reliable ways to trigger them, so we'll try to fix that with our upgrades. So starting off with the budget version, no rares and mythics, we'll be taking out 2 Unexpected Fangs for 2 Birth of Meletis. A lot of our creatures are already going to have lifelink, so the lifelink counter doesn't really matter that much, and the enchantment is great at stalling, which is why I really want it. There's a reason that blue-white controls play this card so much. It's because it stalls the game out. You know, it allows you to survive the early game, which this deck really wants to do, because this deck wants to spend a few turns setting up its board, right? It wants to play like Vito and Indulging Patrician and Griffin Aerie. Like ideally you play like Griffin Aerie turn 2, Vito turn 3, turn 4, maybe you find a way to gain life, but like that's the first few turns. You're developing your board, but you're not proactively attacking your opponent. You're playing kind of on the defense and you're spending these turns kind of doing nothing to kind of set yourself up for the late game. So Birth of Meletis, it's in blue-white control for a reason. It's because it's really good at stalling in the early game, which is really what this deck wants to do as well. So getting a wall, great. Gaining some life, great. Getting the land will be definitely relevant later because we're putting in some big creatures a little bit later. So for the same reason, we'll take out 2 Tavern Swindlers for 2 more of the Births. The Swindlers just aren't reliable. There's no guarantee that you'll gain the life, and also you could just lose to these. It's fun, it's a fun card, but not reliable, not consistent, not what I want to be doing with this deck. Next we'll take out the last Tavern Swindler for an Indulging Patrician, just because the Indulging Patrician is what we're doing, right? We are trying to gain life and make our opponent lose while we gain life. So yeah, we'd rather have that than this Tavern Swindler, which is just not reliable. Next we have a sort of optional upgrade. I think this is better, but some people might not like it, but I do want to take out the Bake into a Pie and replace it with Faith's Fetters. So the enchantment doesn't permanently remove the creature, that's the problem. It just makes it so it can't attack or block, which can be dangerous if someone can remove the enchantment, or if the creature has a relevant ability and it doesn't need to attack. So it's not perfect, but what's nice is that we gain the 4 life immediately when we play it. So it'll trigger all of our stuff the turn we play it. We don't have to worry about the food token or anything, which I personally like better. If we have like Vito, it's, you basically lock down a creature and also deal 4, gain 4, so that's pretty cool. It'll trigger all of our other stuff, put out tokens, make the opponent lose life, all that. So really cool, I like it personally. I also want to swap out one of the Light of Hopes for a 4th Revitalize. I just think the Revitalize is better just because it draws a card. It's great to gain life, right? But I really like that if we don't have our payoff, then Revitalize can help us find them by digging into our deck. And if we do have those cards, then Revitalize gains us the life we need to trigger, Griffin Aerie and Patrician and whatnot. So prefer that just for the draw. That's basically it. I just want to draw the card. It's very important. I also want to take out a swamp for a Zof Consumption. You should expect to play this as a land most of the time, or replacing a land. Don't get too greedy. If you need a land, play it as a land. But if you're flooded out, it doubles as a life drain spell, which is what we want to do in this deck. And similarly, I want to take out 1 Plains for a Skyclave Cleric. Same reason, expect to play it as a land most of the time, but if you're flooded, it's a 1/3 that can gain life. It's good against aggro, it blocks, it gains life, stuff like that. So yeah, decent. Unfortunately, that's it for the budget deck. There really just isn't much we can do with commons and uncommons with this deck. Most of the best cards for this strategy are in the rare slot and the mythic slot, so we have some pretty cool stuff we can do though. We can take out the 2 Silversmote Ghouls for 2 Vitos. Vitos are amazing. You could potentially play 4 because it's like a high priority kill target for the opponent. They're going to try to kill it, but I don't like playing 4s of legendaries in most cases. I also want to take out the 3rd Silversmote Ghoul for a Nighthawk Scavenger. This is the start of the new strategy that I want for this deck, which is evasive flying creatures with lifelink. This is just the start, but Nighthawk Scavenger, it's at the very minimum 3 mana, 1/3 flying Death Touch lifelink, and it can potentially be much bigger than that. It's easy to get this up into like the 4/3, 5/3 range. It happens a lot. Pretty great, so definitely like it. We're also going to take out 2 Boot Nippers for 2 more of the Nighthawks. Even though the Nighthawk costs 1 more mana, you may have noticed I've been taking out a lot of 2 drops for 3 drops in these in this upgrade guide, and that's because I think the deck was overloaded with 2 drops, too many. So this smooths out the curve, and also it's another flying lifelinker, and I really want that. You'll see. We'll keep going here. We'll take out 3 Resolute Riders for 3 Eradicator Valkyries. Once again, very simple. They both cost 4 mana, but the Valkyrie is not only bigger, just straight up bigger, but also it doesn't require mana to get the lifelink, and also has flying to boot. Technically, it doesn't have that second ability, but it is, it has hexproof from Planeswalkers, so I really like it. It also has that boast ability, which could be relevant sometimes. The boast ability, not why we're playing this. The idea here, 4 mana, 4 power, flying lifelink, that's all I really care about. And now, hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing. We have Nighthawk Scavenger on 3. We have Eradicator Valkyrie on 4. There's already a Baneslayer Angel in the deck at 5. So what this is doing is it's giving us a curve that allows us to pressure our opponent in the air. And since they all have lifelink, they'll also trigger all of our life gain payoffs. So the idea here is, instead of being this weird life drain deck where, we're just kind of stuck on defense, hoping that we can gain enough life to stay alive, and hoping that we draw our payoffs, right? Hoping that we draw Vito, hoping that we draw Indulgent Patrician. Because sometimes when you play these life drain decks, you just can't draw those cards, and you can't really do anything. In this case, we're going to be proactively killing our opponent with these aggressively costed flyers. It just so happens that they also trigger Vito, and they also trigger Indulgent Patrician, and they also trigger Griffin Aerie, right? So we get to be proactive and killing our opponent, but because they all have lifelink, it's also a life gain deck that's going to trigger all of our stuff. So I really like this idea. It's pretty cool. I've been having kind of a lot of fun playing this deck, just because we get to be aggressive, we get to be proactive, we get to try to kill our opponent, but also, we're triggering Vito and all that stuff, which is fun as well. And lastly, I want to replace the 2 Anointed Choristers with 2 Speaker of the Heavens, although I will say that All-Seed of Life's Bounty also works in this slot if you don't want to spend the rares. The All-Seed actually might be better. I don't think we need more flyers. I mean, it's nice. More flyers are nice, but the protection spell is just really nice with the All-Seed. They're both 1 mana 1/1s with lifelink, so they help with our strategy. They synergize with everything. But yeah, either of these are fine. Speaker of the Heavens good, All-Seed good if you want to protect Vito or Baneslayer Angel or whatever. But regardless, whichever one you put in, they're both better than the Chorister. So Chorister's out for Speaker of the Heavens or All-Seed of Life's Bounty. Kind of your choice. Either's fine. Also, as always, you can improve the mana base with Pathways, with Fabled Passages, and maybe Temples as well. Usually it's obvious, you just always take out the life gain lands for Temples, but in this case, the life gain lands are kind of relevant, so life gain lands not terrible. I don't think it's as necessary to take them out. I do think the Temples are still probably better, but the life gain lands are not really that bad in this deck. And that's the deck. I will say there are tons of different ways you can build this deck. I did try a bunch of different iterations of it. For example, you can play Vito and Angel of Destiny. Angel of Destiny says whenever your stuff deals damage to the opponent, you gain all the life back, but then with Vito, it then drains the opponent for the life you gain. It's a really cool combo. You've probably seen it before. Angel could probably go in the place of Baneslayer Angel and the Troll, the Clackbridge Troll. You could also focus more on playing Clerics with things like Clerics of Life's Blood, Aura, Tabaraks. The Cleric deck, the Tribal Cleric deck, is basically a life gain, life drain deck. So that's also an option, though it's a totally different deck basically. And also Vito and Angel of Destiny, both Clerics, so that's convenient. There's also a Vito and Peer into the Abyss combo. Basically it's an instant win combo if you can manage to cast Peer into the Abyss. So that's a thing worth noting, not what I went with personally. I also tried, I just want to mention this, I tried a lockdown version where I played things like Dogged Pursuit, Revenge of Ravens, Cosmos Elixir, and it was terrible. Don't recommend it. Don't do that. Take my word for it. You can't win. It's a cool idea, but everything was too expensive and I was always just dead, so whatever. But something worth noting, I guess. Anyway, my plan with this build, with what I have now, is to stall the game early, right? Stall out early. Use the early game stalling with Birth of Meletis, and Indulging Patrician, because Indulging Patrician is like this brick wall, right? It's a 1/4, so it blocks forever, has a lifelink, really bad for aggro decks. So you have like this early game, like just stall out plan, like don't let your opponent attack, they can't get through to you. You're gaining just enough life to stay alive and, not like take a big hit to your life total. And then in the mid to late game, we're playing, the Valkyrie, we're playing Nighthawk Scavenger, we're playing Baneslayer Angel, stuff like that to like take over the game and start winning in the air. And all of that just so happens to also trigger all the stuff that we were stalling out with in the early game. So it's pretty cool. I really like it. There are still some things I don't know if it's perfect, like does Clackbridge Troll need to be in the deck? It's okay, but not necessary. I don't even know if the Shadow Spear needs to be in the deck because so much of the stuff that's in here already has lifelink. The hexproof thing is nice, but it might not be 100% necessary. But regardless, the deck is definitely better than what we started with. If you want to try the decks yourself, check the description or the pinned comment. It'll probably be the description. I think that's where I've been posting them. I will post both versions of the deck in the Magic Arena format, so you can just copy it, copy the deck list, import it into Arena. It won't auto craft, it won't like craft or use your wildcards. It'll just add the deck to your account. Then you can open it and look at it, and you'll have that craft button if you want to, but you can look at it in your client, look over it yourself, see what you think. And yeah, that's it guys. Hopefully that is helpful. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.